Okay, so we are working on version 2 of my Bluetooth scanning device that takes a picture and tries to use that information for something that might be valuable. So I was trying to create this whole system. So I have a server that's out there. It's actually sitting at my desk. It's basically just a laptop that has a webcam on it. But the idea was it would scan for Bluetooth addresses. And then the hope was we could use a Bluetooth address as a pointer to a real human being, and then we could track that real human being. What we found out is that Bluetooth uses something called a private random address that it switches up relatively a lot, quite a bit. And so basically that's just a kind of a throwaway address. It sends it out there, uses it for a little bit, then it gets a new one. So I realized I can't track people off of these Bluetooth addresses. So one of my next questions was, well, can we simply use the fact that Bluetooth devices are around as a way to basically do like an activity monitor at a physical business? So imagine if you wanted to track more or less how busy a business is or how busy an area is, and you're trying to figure out how to do that. Would you do that with cameras? Would you do that with little laser things people would walk through? Well, one of my ideas here is, since everybody nowadays has smartphones on them and has Bluetooth devices, what if you had a server basically continuously scanning for Bluetooth devices, and then you could just basically use that as a way to measure activity in an area. So this could be a cool thing. Like imagine in parks, right, where you don't really have any physical infrastructure. You could literally put like a Raspberry Pi, plug it into a battery, shove it in a box, and then it could just simply collect, how busy is the park? Is the park busy at noon? Is the park busy at midnight? Again, criminals and ne'er-do-wells don't necessarily turn their smartphones off. So literally at 3 o'clock in the morning, you might detect that there's actually quite a bit of activity in some place like a park or a parking lot or those types of things. And so this is the first iteration of this new kind of concept here. Let's see if I refresh. There we go. I'll get some new pictures. So again, basically what this does is this gives a timestamp. So this was the last time picture was taken. Was at 4:12. It is 4:12 right now. It tells me 26 objects or Bluetooth devices were detected, and then it gives me a picture. So this is sitting at my desk, kind of going widthways across the hatch room. So kind of my idea with this is, what if you had this up in a corner, or basically in a way that you could capture a picture of the entire room? So using the image, so you could then see how many Bluetooth devices, and you could see the image, just to make sure those two things correlate decently well. But basically, so every minute and 15 seconds, I guess this thing fires off, and we can see here, we can see here, I found 26 devices, 25 devices, 24 devices, 30 devices, 28 devices, so on and so forth, 27, 22, 20. And so what I want to do is I want to run this for the next couple of days and see how these numbers go up and down. So basically these numbers should go down, that should, like at 7 o'clock in the evening, they should basically drop off. There should be very few devices until probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. Then we should see a spike of Bluetooth devices come into the area during the day. And then so hopefully we can kind of see this wave as activity goes through the building. And so, basically just a concept here, just playing around, experimenting. Maybe we'll actually be able to use this for something. Again, I envision this in the real world. Again, you could use this for stores. You could use this for parks. If you're doing trying to do demographic research, you're trying to see how many people go by a certain area. Imagine you want to rent a storefront. And so if you could put like a little, especially like a Raspberry Pi Nano, like a Nano Raspberry Pi Zero. If you could put a Raspberry Pi Zero or a Zero W, basically, plug a battery into it, suction cup it somewhere so nobody sees it, and you could put that beside a few different stores you're thinking about renting, and then you can pull that information later, and you could see, like, during the exact same time period, which stores actually seem to get more traffic, that type of deal. So anyways, I guess this is the tech world. You play. Is it actually useful information? Who the hell knows? But that's the whole thing, right? You get your information, you get new ideas from playing with old ideas that seem to fail. So with this, again, it's all pretty simple. We have a Python script here. Oops, pull this out. We have a Python script here that basically loops through. So we have the imports, we have a MySQL connection. So again, this is dumping into a MySQL database so that it's a lot easier to deal with the data. We then have a while true. Do make sure you put things in the right place with a while loop. I had 55 minutes of this command being outside the while loop. And I was getting very confused because I was getting new pictures. But every single devices found was the exact same number. And I took a look at the Bluetooth addresses, and they were the same Bluetooth addresses. And I was like, why? I don't understand. And the reason was because this was outside the while loop. So make sure everything that's supposed to be in the while loop, anything that's supposed to refresh during a loop, make sure you actually put it in the loop. So anyways, that's a command, just the Bluetooth CTL. We create the picture and all of that kind of stuff. We output to the MySQL database, and then we use this PHP script, and this PHP script is then what connects into the MySQL database, and then it gives us this dynamic web page. We can go here, and if I uncomment these, we can actually see all of the Bluetooth addresses. So I do Control S here. If I do a refresh, so this actually shows us not just the 26 devices found, but it shows us all the different Bluetooth addresses, right? And then if we go down to the bottom, I added, so we have 91 addresses found total. So we saw up here, it's somewhere between 20 to 30 devices per scan. So obviously 91 is a lot more than that. So this is where I'm talking about with those private randomized addresses. Then this shows us 26 scans. So it's actually scanned 26 times so far. And then we have the address and we see how many times it's been seen so far. So that address has been seen 13 times and 17 times and 36 times and 48 times. So we might be able to, like with these high number ones, that's one of the things. Remember, with the private randomized address, this is an implementation of the vendor, which means if the vendor implements it properly, it works great. If they don't, you might not actually get the randomized addresses as often as you're supposed to. So I will be kind of curious to see, like, are there some Bluetooth devices where for whatever reason they don't actually renew that randomized address very often. As you can see here though, I mean, seen once, seen 4 times, seen 5 times. So we've had 26 scans and most of these numbers are below 26. So even within a relatively short amount of time, we can see that those randomized addresses really do recreate themselves pretty often. But yeah, so there we go. This is what we're working with right now. And when I get a little bit further along, I don't know, probably tomorrow. See, what I want to do is, so this is going to be running all day. So I'm just going to keep that server sitting on my desk, running along, doing its deal. Then once I've got about 24 hours or I don't know, whatever, 20 hours of data, then what I want to do tomorrow is then come back in and create like a reporting mechanism. The idea being like, can you tell me what hour of the day had the most devices, or what I may do is just list the hours a day. So like from 0 o'clock to 2400, and so 0 o'clock, this many devices were found. 1 o'clock, this many devices, and basically do it that way. And so you can kind of get an idea of the wave of users that come in and out. That's one of my thoughts, but that's the kind of thing that I actually need data. I need data before I can start analyzing data. Surprise, surprise, surprise. So there you go. There is this particular project. Do remember, if you like what I'm doing, give me a thumb up or a thumb down. Remember, in the social media world, oh, bad interactions are still interactions. Leave a comment, subscribe if you like to, and I'll see you folks later.